All right. So here we are, stabilization and strength, working on chakras 6 and 7 today. As we begin on the floor, notice if your body prefers to have the knees bent or straight. There is no one place that the body has to be as we begin. Let's bring our awareness first to breathing, maybe putting both hands down on our belly. And as we inhale, feeling that the belly rises up away from the spine. When we exhale, really letting go of the breath, allowing the body all on its own to let go. We might want to sigh on the exhale. We may even want to open the mouth, relax the jaw when we exhale, inhaling in through the nose as much as possible, actively moving the breath down into the lowest part of the lungs, feeling the belly rise, and then maybe exhale with a sigh. Relax the jaw, open the throat. If you're noticing that you can't quite get a big breath today, we may need to actively push the air out of our body. To do this, exhale as if you're going to fog a mirror, activating the muscles in your stomach so that we are recruiting just a bit of effort on the exhale. Usually exhale is no effort, but there are always exceptions to that, especially in cases where we may have some stress. Inhaling, breathe in into the nose. Exhale, more important than the inhale. Pushing as much air up and out of the body as possible, making space for us to breathe in, welcome in that new wave of energy. The colors of the energies that we're focusing on today are indigo and violet. Become aware of any parts of the body that might be harboring tension, any parts of the body that might be harboring pain today. Acknowledging those spaces, bringing awareness into those places, maybe even sending just thoughts of love, compassion, and healing into those places that may have a past injury or places that we know are healing. From wherever you are, maybe go ahead and wiggle the toes a little bit. Let's all lift our hands up where we can see them and go ahead and make a fist and then open the hands wide. Let's do that a few more times. Wiggling the fingers. On an inhale, as if we're painting the ceiling, draw the hands back behind you as far as they'll go, making sure that the neck and shoulders feel comfortable with our range of motion this morning. Inviting a nice big stretch out from your armpits and out from the sides of the body. When you're ready, lifting the hands, let's lower the hands down beside our hips. Let's all come to a position where our knees are bent. From the bent knee position, lift the heels, push off the toes. Let's bring the knees in towards the chest this morning, and we can hold on to the sides of the thighs, or maybe behind the thighs and the knees. The knees can be touching really, really close, or the knees can be wide, even as wide as shoulder width. Usually when the knees are wide, this will put more pressure on your back. And I know that some of us in here are wanting to alleviate pressure in the back. So if that's you, touch your knees together and notice if that creates just a little more stretch. Maybe it takes a little bit of tension out of your back. Let's all straighten our legs towards the ceiling, pointing and flexing the feet a few times. Then rolling out the ankles. Rolling 6 to 8 times. Reversing those circles with the ankles. coming to a neutral position to point and flex the feet a few more times, moving the joint through its most natural range of motion, point and flex just a few more times, wiggle the toes. Let's see that the knees and the feet are the same distance apart, picking up our block from beside us and placing it between the knees. Another visual check, knees and ankles are the same distance apart. Let's flatten our feet, imagining that we're pushing our heels up towards the ceiling, pressing through the heels with as much dynamic energy as possible, working a nice big stretch down the backs of the ankles, through the backs of our knees. Continue to press gently through the heels, press in with the knees. Let's bend our knees and let the heels touch the floor, keeping the toes lifted. We're pressing our hands down into the floor. On the next inhale, push down into the heels and lift the hips away from the mat, coming into an expression of bridge with the toes lifted and dynamic. Exhale, lower the hips down to tap. Let's do a few more of those with toes lifted. Inhaling, peeling up the hips. Exhale, lowering the hips down. At least one or two more. Remember, at any time as I'm suggesting these different movements or these different poses, that your body might want to hold a pose, and you could always move faster or slower. If you're flowing, just one more flow. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower. Let's lower our feet flat, pressing into the block. Inhale, extending just your right leg out straight, pointing the toe, and then exhale, lower that foot flat. Switching legs, inhaling, extension, exhale, flat. Maybe even closing our eyes. We're going to keep that rhythm, one breath, one movement. On the inhale, working through a leg extension with a pointed toe. Exhale, lowering the foot flat. Wait for the breath before the movement. And it may be just a fraction of a moment where we become aware of what cycle of the breath that we're in. And with that awareness, we begin to choreograph the movement with each inhale and each exhale. Let's do one more on each side if we're flowing the movement. Eventually, we do all meet with both feet flat on the floor, focusing on the breath again, bringing it to that diaphragmatic or belly breathing, inhaling, belly rising, letting the belly round out, pushing to the sides of the waist and ribs. Exhaling, it could be a big sigh of relief. It could be exhaling like you're fogging a mirror. A few more breaths. Keeping in mind that as long as we're breathing, we're doing yoga. As long as we're practicing awareness of the breath, we're meditating. When you're ready, let's take that block away from the knees and thighs and set it just off to the side of the mat. Let's take our feet out wide, maybe even touching the very edges of the mat. On an exhale, let both knees sway over to the right. Inhale, bring the knees up through center. Exhale, both knees sway over to the left. Continue to choreograph the movement with the breath. Inhale, lift. And exhale, twist to one side. Tune into your body's own natural breathing rhythms, allowing the breath to ultimately be the guide in the practice. allowing the body to show us when it wants to move. We can always keep the legs only or add the arms to this twist. We're going to mix it up. As we exhale and the knees fall over to the right, let both arms reach over to the left. So you're going to drape that right arm over your chest and actively reach, peeling up the right shoulder, peeling up the left hip. Inhale, knees and arms come to neutral, fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, knees to the left, both arms reaching to the right. The movement can stay very flowy and active. Inhaling center, exhale twist, and of course at any time. If we notice that it just feels good to hold it on one side and stretch, then hold it on that one side and stretch. From the fluid movement, we may discover that one side of the body feels a little tighter than the other. Take your time if you're flowing to maybe even this up on the left and right. And if you're holding it on one side, you could always switch sides. When you feel like it's evened up for your body, let's meet at center and we'll hug the knees into the chest just one more time. Maybe take the knees out wide this time, happy baby pose, and add in a playful rocking side to side with your body. Let's take our time to draw the knees in close, bringing the body to a still point, lowering our feet down to the floor. Let's roll over onto one side and hold it there for maybe 3 to 5 breaths. Find the breath in the back of your body, under the shoulder blades. So we're shifting awareness into those places that move along the sides of the spine. Let's use our top arm or top hand down on the floor where we can see it. Then slowly begin to use that hand to press up into seated. From seated, let's bend both knees. Hi, good morning. Does anyone else already feel significantly more relaxed? Amazing what 5 minutes can do. Let's take our block between the knees and the thighs. We could always sit on a pillow or roll up the back of our mat for extra cushioning. If you're using the mat, I don't recommend a tiny perch for what we're going to do. Instead, kind of fold it like, book it. Make it a little bigger. If it's a perch, you might roll off for what we're going to do. So just like we did lying down, let's see that the knees and the ankles are the same distance apart. And we're going to hold on to the sides or back to the thighs. When we come forward, we're trying to lift our collarbones over the block. Maybe imagine you're trying to push your sternum towards the block as a guide. Continue to pull the ribs up and lift the head. Inhale here. On the exhale, squeeze that block, push through the heels, and come back to open the back of your heart and spine. Lower the chin down into the chest, feeling like you're stretching the back of your neck, or even those places, those indentations at the base of the skull where the spine moves up into the brain. From here, let's inhale, come forward. Maybe chest to the block, then lift the collarbone and sternum. Pull the toes up, keeping the knees and fronts of the ankles active. Exhale, come back. Keep the feet active. Move from the belly and the spine, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhaling, shifting forward, flip the hips back, pull the sternum up, lift through the chin. It's like a seated cow position. Exhale, chin to chest, roll back, maybe even tuck the hips under. You don't have to move the hips a lot in this. Sometimes there's not enough cushioning. Inhale, come forward, lift. Exhale back, drop the chin. At least a couple more like this. Option to close the eyes, tuning into the breath without too many distractions in the brain. Sometimes when we keep our eyes open, it distracts too many parts of the brain. Let's all come to a neutral position. Take the block away from the knees and set it just off to the side. Let's walk both of our feet over to the right edge of our mat and let the knees fall over to the left. Notice how your knees, hips, feet may want to position themselves. We're not going to put this seated foundation into a box, but rather we just want to make sure that the hips and the back are comfortable. Your right hip might be off of your mat a little bit. If that doesn't feel good, you could also try putting your pillow or your block underneath that hip to support it, but you don't have to. From here, let's inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, twist to the left. Lower the hands down to the floor at about shoulder width. As we exhale, we're bending the elbows. Notice that our body, for most of us as women, our elbows are going to flip out to the side like chicken wings. We don't want that. Pull them back and let's make them more like cricket legs. This is going to create more strength for the rotator cuff. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale, keep those elbows pulled in tight and lower down, maybe tapping your nose towards the floor. On the next inhale, push away from the floor, keep the elbows pulled in tight. Keep the left hand exactly where it is. Take your right hand forward as if you're going to shake hands. And now inhale, reach it up and keep pushing into the left hand as you circle back. Looking behind you, lowering the hand down to shoulder height. Push off the left hand. Reposition the trunk and core. Inhale, reach up, big breath in. Exhale, twist. Elbows pull in, find the breath. Lowering down, tip of the nose towards the floor. Left hand stays exactly where it is. Inhale up, sweep and reach. Circle it back. Push the right hip back behind you. Push off the left hand. Balance. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. Bring the hands down. Elbows back like little cricket legs. Option to tip the nose. Come up. Left hand stays. Inhale, open. Right arm extension. Reach it back. One more time. Push off the left hand. Reach up tall. Notice if that right hip is lifted really high. Try to relax your ribs on the right side. If you're holding a lot of tension in your right side of the body, maybe close your eyes. Inhale blue. Exhale red. Sometimes there's a lot of tension on this side if the body is holding on to anger or unforgiveness. Some people go, yeah, that makes sense. Do I want to let that go today? Try a little bit. Let it go a little bit. Big inhale. It's not helping you. Exhale, turn. Bring it down. Left hand stays on the floor. Inhale, come up. Right arm extension. Circle back. Push off the hand and come to center. Let's switch sides. It can feel very different from left to right, especially if you already had breakfast. It can feel really different on this side. Notice that you don't have to look the same on the left and right. Hips can be really kind of temperamental creatures. They can be very different. It may not be that your hip is really tighter. It could be that you have a shorter ligament on one side, right? We're not symmetrical. Inhale, bring the arms up. Big smile, because those muscles connect to your hips. And then twist, hands come down, little check-in. We bend the elbows. It could be different on this side because of shoulders. Pull the elbows tight. Tap the tip of the nose, right hand stays. Come up nice and slow. Circle around with the left hand. Press the left hip back a little bit and reach. Push off the right hand. Come to center, big inhale. Exhale, turn, bring it down. Elbows pulled in tight towards the waist. Inhale up, right hand stays. Left arm extension with a nice big circle, reaching back. Push off the right hand. Inhale up, big breath. Exhale, twist, bring it down. Right hand stays. Inhale up. Left hip back. One more time, right arm up. Big breath, reach. Exhale, twist, lift the left hip a little bit with the twist. Hands coming down. Right hand stays. Inhale, left arm up. Left hip pressing back a little bit as we look behind us. Pushing off our right hand, coming to center, big inhale. And then exhale, relax the hands. Let's grab our block, making sure that it's really close by to us. Sandy or Sandy Masterson? Yeah, thank you. No, just put that. All right, let's come forward.
How about you?
That's great. All right, let's take our block between the knees and the thighs. So just a little gentle reminder here, we're not going to be on our knees very long. Knees being such bony structures, I mean, they were not created for us to be on our knees very long. That's why we are all walking creatures on 2 feet, right? So put a little extra cushioning under the knees. If you're noticing any pain in the wrist, which is very common, you could elevate the wrist a little bit. This is really nice. It'll change the angle of that wrist bone. Maybe even it'll put less pressure in your fingers. Another option is to come off of that wrist altogether and come down onto the elbows. So for those of us maybe who are more familiar with some of these yoga flows, we're going into cat and cow flow. So you can adapt anytime you want. When you're ready, inhaling, dropping the belly, we're flipping our hips back, keeping the elbows pulled in tight, looking forward, lifting our chin so that maybe we're able to see where the wall meets the ceiling with our eyes, or maybe we lift the head up as well. On the exhale, let's pull the tailbone down and round the spine, letting the head hang loose between the biceps and forearms. Inhaling, dropping the belly, shifting the eyes first, then lifting the head to meet our gaze. Exhale, pulling the belly up and dropping the head and the neck. Let's try that a few more times. In the next 3 to 5 breaths, closing the eyes, observing just a few moments of silence to tune into that rhythm with our breath. Now hold whichever position feels better for you. Tune into the body's own natural intelligence. So maybe naturally we want to keep cat, or the body may choose cow. There's no right or wrong with this. Ultimately, one of the greatest or most significant practices of yoga is getting to know the body and tuning into what the body needs. So go to what your body needs. Breathe here, 2 or 3 more breaths. Relax the jaw. There's a lot of hip manipulation in this, which connects to the jaw. And all of that connects to emotional centers in the body as well. When you're ready, let's find a neutral position. Bring the block out beside you. Let's touch our knees and our toes together, either from the hands or the elbow position. We're going to work on loosening up from the waist down to the hips. Let's lift our toes off the floor and swing your feet over to the right corner of your mat. From here, relax your jaw. Lift your feet, and now sweep your feet to the left edge of your mat. Looking over the shoulder, come to center. Imagine you're like a fish out of water. So you're kind of letting your body kind of go side to side. Sometimes we also call this wag the tail, like a little puppy dog wagging its tail. You're actively lifting the feet, swiveling over, using the muscles behind your knee, and also using the muscles in the side of your spine. This could help to correct some forms of scoliosis in the body. Let's lift and twist. Look over the shoulder. Try to look for your feet behind you. Lift the feet, twist. Find the feet behind the body. Doing this a couple more times. Lift, shift. Even this up for yourself on the right and left sides. Deeply massaging some more of the internal organs as we also are working different muscles in the spine. Let's come to our neutral position, keeping the toes touching. Take your feet out wide, your knees out wide, toes touching, knees wide. Let's take this into a wide-kneed child position. On our exhale, we're slowly pressing the hips back. Now maybe you pause, inhale, exhale, take them back just an inch or two. Pause, give the hips and the spine time to recalibrate and to loosen up. Inhale. The more we stretch, every time we try to stretch, there is an opposing mechanism in the body that tightens, that keeps us from stretching too much. Inhale. Exhale, go back a little bit. Now at some point, your hips might touch your feet. That's fine. Inhale. Exhale, sit back a little more. And just keep practicing sort of that ebb and flow with the breath. Inhale, little lift. Exhale, press back. If your hips touch your feet, inhale, lift your chest a little. Exhale, start focusing on pushing your chest towards the floor. Inhale, small lift with the breath. Exhale, lowering with hips and chest. Staying for maybe 3 to 5 more breaths, allowing the body to settle into the stretch. Notice any tension in the jaw or the hips. Breathe out from the throat. Relax the muscles around the bridge of your nose. Relax the muscles on the insides of your ears. I know it sounds strange, but there are muscles inside the ears that go to the brain that can actually go to different emotional centers too. So relax your ears. One more big exhale here. When you're ready, slowly shift forward. Let's bring the knees in. And maybe at this point, if you have your mat rolled up, go ahead and unroll the yoga mat. Let's come down to lying down on our bellies. Lying down on our bellies. Anybody used to do this when you were a kid? Watch TV like this, and then change the channel like this? Right? Right? Okay, so we practiced this last week. This is a supported back bend. In yoga, back bends are the fountain of youth. Naturally, when we do this back bend, we are already opening the front of the hip. That's one of the tightest parts on our body. And that front of the hip can harbor all sorts of just different emotional and energetic blockages. So we're gonna open this up today. Relax your jaw. You know who you are. All three of you that I keep winking at, okay?
It's like closing your eyes.
I know. All right. Turn the thumbs down if possible. Take a look at the arms, and if your fingers are turned in, work towards separating your hands so that we have a straight line from the shoulder joint to the elbow. And then from the elbow to the wrist and the fingertips, it would be lined up with the outer edge of your mat. If this hurts, you don't have to stay here. You could put your hands closer together. Just move towards that today. Let's press our shoulders away from our ears and then lengthen out through your head and neck. Let's shift our gaze to where the wall meets the ceiling, then lift the chin a little more. Continue to pull the shoulders down towards your hips, and maybe even imagine that you're trying to pinch a golf ball between your shoulder blades. So not only are we pressing the shoulders down, we're pulling our shoulders back. This is strengthening the muscles behind the heart. As we inhale, we'll feel that we can breathe into the center of the chest, and the breath is going to pull your spine up more. Notice when you inhale, you can push more down into your elbows, and the spine will lengthen. Inhaling, press down, push away, lift the head. Exhale, relax a little bit. Keep doing that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower a tiny bit. Inhale, lift. Exhale, relax. Now try to use your stomach to breathe. So often we have that breath in the belly in that one plane of movement. Now the stomach has active pressure on it. As you inhale, notice how that feels to try to use your stomach. Inhale, push into the belly. And then exhale, relax. Oh, everybody's spine got longer. Inhale, push into your belly. Exhale, relax a little. Just one more. Inhale and exhale. From here, let's let our elbows go out to the side, the chicken wing movement. Let them go. Come down. Reach the arms directly out in front of the body. Pushing down into the floor. Imagine you're trying to drag your hands back without moving them. Now, squeeze in with the inner thighs, maybe even touch your toes together. And start to hover your knees, feet, and thighs away from the floor. Pressing firmly into the hands so the upper body is anchored. We're locking those armpit muscles in by dragging the hands back. Push into your belly, inhale. Lift the legs a little higher. Option to hold it here, or maybe lift just the left hand off the floor. So it's half of Superman pose, half Superman. And then bring the hand down. Pull back with that left hand and push down into the floor. Inhale, lifting the right hand. Exhale, bring it down. We can continue to alternate, or if you'd like to experiment, inhale, pull the hands back, keep pressing the shoulders away from the ears, and then lift both hands. What will usually happen is the feet will separate. That's okay. If you want to challenge the body a little bit, press your thighs and your toes to touching. Push into the belly to breathe, inhale. And exhale, relax your whole body now. Bending the elbows, we can turn the head to the left or the right and just hang out. Separate the feet to the width of your mat. Turn the toes out and the heels in. This is a yoga pose in its own right. It's known as Makara Asana or the sea creature. Sometimes we even call it crocodile, a type of crocodile pose. Let's turn our head over to the other side, working in that gentle neck stretch on both left and right. Keeping the toes out and the heels in. Let's bring our head to neutral, adding on to Makara Asana, sea creature. Keep the elbows out to the side, separate the fingertips, and maybe bring the hands up by your ears. And that's the pose. That's the whole pose. Okay, inhale into your stomach and lift. So you're like a crocodile, right? You were like real low, and then you just poke your head out the top of the water with little beady eyes, right? Charades. Exhale, relax. Place the hands down beside your body. Let's take our sweet time. Reposition the knees and the feet. We definitely want to make sure our backs are happy before we come out of this pose. Okay, little trick. Tuck your toes under. Start bending your knees. Lift your buttocks. Push into your knees and thighs to come up. And then push back. Nice. Child's pose to reset. For those of us who are missing a downward facing dog, if you'd like to transition this, some of you laugh. You're like, I forgot about that pose. I don't miss it at all, Skila. I'm just fine in child's pose. All right. If you're craving a downward facing dog, shift forward. Line up, shoulder, elbow, wrist, so our upper body can support us. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, you're in plank. And then push back. You're coming into an inverted V position. You could focus on pushing the heels down towards the floor. If you focus on pushing the heels down, it is going to create more pressure on your shoulders. So some of us have shoulders that we're taking care of today. For those of you with those shoulders, lift your heels really high and maybe even bend your knees a little bit. No matter where you go with this, shake your head yes. Turn your head left and right. Reassure your body. Good job. Thank you for showing up today. When you're ready, lower the knees. Let's all sway our feet to one side and come around to seated. Bring the legs around. Let's cross our right leg over our left leg. So step one in this foundation is bringing the right leg in front. Step two, bend your bottom leg under, your left leg under. Step three, take that right leg over more. Maybe walk your feet out and stack your knees. Your hips will tell you what you're gonna do, right? We're not gonna tell our bodies what to do. Your hips are gonna tell you where to go with this. So, right leg is on top, no matter what. Let's take our left arm, circle it back, and reach up. Imagine you're holding on to 100 helium balloons. Lift, lift, lift. Let's pat ourselves on the back. If this hurts the shoulder, lower the elbow a little bit. Let's take our right hand, turn the thumb down, and now bend the elbow, placing the knuckles at the low back. As you inhale, imagine you just woke up, like Sleeping Beauty style, Disney movie. It's the big, look at this. Perfect makeup, perfect mascara, just woke up. Disney just lied to us, right? They lied to us in so many ways. They lied to you about what kind of marriage you have. Then they lied to you telling you you're gonna wake up with your hair done. They went too far telling me maybe lying to me about relationship was okay, but telling me my hair was gonna be good when I wake up, that's it. All right, inhale, open. If you want, start to walk the fingertips toward each other. So maybe you touch your hands. Sometimes it's not a matter of flexibility, it's limits and tendons. Hold it here, pull up with your left elbow a little more and lean to the right. Push your left hip down. We're trying to unlock any type of stitch or catch or tension under your left rib. That can affect your hip. Inhale into the upper left lung. Breathe in and imagine your elbow pulling up to the ceiling. Look over to the right if this is hurting your neck. One more big inhale. Bigger exhale. Big inhale. Bigger exhale. Let's slowly realign our spine, neck and head, and then let that left arm go. Let the right arm go and move the arms a little bit and the wrist. Okay, so before we do the other side, I know this is the last class of the session. We've worked a lot on the whole body. You could just unwind your legs and just switch sides. Or if you like to do cool little yoga tricks, anybody? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, what you would do is slowly shift forward, use your feet, tuck your toes. You're gonna turn to the left. And then you're gonna walk your hands around. And when you come to the other side, then your left leg's on top. Do it. Don't make me show up with shot next time. I'll be like, everybody is gonna require one shot of tequila, you get an old fashioned, and then everybody's gonna try it.
Let's make you show up with the shots.
I know, everybody already is like, I'm down for shots. Some of you are gonna pull out a flask in the next class, you're like. Just try it, right? Just try it. Yeah. And what's interesting is sometimes the body will do it one way, but it won't do it the other way. Isn't that funny? Okay. Okay, let's do the other side. So step one, let's make sure the left leg is dominant. This is all about working with the brain. Make sure your left leg is dominant. Step two, maybe walk that right leg under a little more. Maybe walk the foot over. Maybe stack the knees in any position. Let's take our right hand. So left leg on top, right arm on top. Circle back, palm up, reach, and then we'll pat ourselves on the back. Left hand, turn the thumb down, bend at the elbow, knuckles to the low back. Sleeping Beauty, big inhale, open up, nice. Look to the left, lean over, opening up the right side of the body, close your eyes. Big inhale, up to the right side of your chest. Exhale, seeing red light leave from your right waistline. Inhale, breathe into the right side of the chest. Exhale, letting go of red light. Inhaling right, it's believed that when you receive the breath through the right side of the body, you're receiving more love, the catalyst to healing. And then you exhale that red light. That's any grudges, any unforgiveness, really any emotion that is disturbing the peace, and kind of go with that red light. One more big breath in. Big exhale. Now just focus on the stretch. Imagine you're holding on to 100 helium balloons with your right elbow. So inhale, lift a little higher. Exhale, the body naturally retracts or relaxes. Inhaling, lengthen and expansion. Exhale, contraction, a little more grounded. One more big breath. And then exhale. Let's release our right hand, left hand, realign the spine. No crazy yoga tricks to get out of it. Let's uncross our legs. When you're ready, roll over onto one side with the feet and knees, and let's lie down on our sides. Then roll over onto your back for final relaxation. I'm going to dim the lights a little bit, especially these recessed lights. The room will never be pitch black. So this is where it all began today. Noticing where the body is comfortable, either knees bent or legs straight. Bringing awareness to the breath in the body, breathing down low into the lowest parts of the lungs. Exhaling, noticing when the body is harboring the breath, maybe even harboring tension, noticing when the body doesn't want to let go. Again, we might want to exhale as if we're fogging a mirror, so that we encourage the body to fully release any tension, let go of any old stagnant air. At some point, letting go of any breath manipulation with the body and instead visualizing the breath. Perhaps visualizing it first spatially. If you imagine the breath approaching you from a point about 6 inches from the tip of your nose. So imagine a little laser pointer pointing to a spot 6 inches away from the tip of your nose. The breath approaches from this point as 2 rays of blue light, silvery blue energy. And as we inhale, that energy comes into the nose, 1 ray of light into each nostril, and then it goes up to the middle of your brain. When you exhale, the breath leaves from the middle of the brain out the middle of your forehead. Inhaling, the breath approaches from a point 6 inches from the tip of the nose. Breathing in rays of blue light up to the middle of the brain. Exhaling a single ray of white light from the midbrain out the 3rd eye, center of the forehead. Breathe in blue, 2 rays of light. Breathe out white from the midbrain to the 3rd eye. We don't always see or visualize the breath. That's okay. Sense the presence of the breath. We inhale blue light to the midbrain. This energy is cool, it's expansive, it's very light and airy. Exhale white. Feeling that there's even more space, more expansion. There is a theory in physics, a theory in studies of the universe and astrology that the universe is always expanding. Things are getting bigger and bigger every day. If we believe that we are part of that we come from that, then we can tie into it by sensing our consciousness expanding. Breathe in, light, airy, open. Breathe out, even more expansion. Holding on to the presence of infinite expansion, become aware of the body resting on the floor. Becoming aware of the duality in our nature. We're able to stay grounded, we're able to stay connected, and at the same time, we're able to expand infinitely. Begin to deepen your breath with only a bit more of effort. Still holding on to that feeling of infinite expansion. And aware of how the body is responding to the breath. To close the meditative practice, coming more into the physical form, wiggle the toes and wiggle the fingers. Take your time to adjust your body so that eventually you're able to roll over onto one side and come up to seated. From any seated position, let's inhale the arms up and overhead. Big breath in as we reach up, and then exhale, draw the palms together to the chest. Doing this a couple more times. Inhale, gathering up the breath. Exhale, press the palms together, locking in. One more time, inhale. And then exhale, lock in. Bring the thumbs directly to the center of the chest, pressing in the sternum, lowering the chin. Let's draw in a deep unifying breath together. Exhale, let it all go. And from here, we can bow together in closing. Namaste.
Namaste.
All done.
Thank you. Thank you, Skila.
Thank you, everyone. Hey, if y'all haven't registered, remember to register.
So the 31st, right? The next class?
Yes.
Yeah. I know they insisted about that, and I went to.
I know.
24th, I said,
Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
I thought it was the 24th, and they were like the 31st, and they said, no, we need to do it a week later, and I was like, okay. All I know is they did promise me everyone's gonna get the memo. So I will check with them one more time.